business, fitness, relationship, if you want them to work, you have to put in the work. It does require discipline. It does require you doing things that you don't want to do. And let's not forget that in Dubai, that's £20,000 tax-free money.
Very, very good point there. Anybody who is earning that £20,000 in the UK for a property portfolio, you're not actually having that 20,000. There's a lot of other expenses to consider. Dubai is a great place to run a business, earn money, enjoy everything. It's a great place to be. But I think moving into a latter part of my life, when I get into my 50s, 55 plus, I probably want to be near the sea. So welcome everybody to another episode of the J2 Hub podcast. And today I'm joined by a client who's become a friend, a chap called Carl. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper into his stories because he's got a pretty remarkable story, to be fair, from, nearly losing it all. Well, in fact, losing it all to rebuilding it all and being in one of the fastest paces or fastest paced country in the world at the moment, and building such a successful business. So today I'm going to dig quite deep into this one. I want to understand the fundamentals on where it started and where it's going and how he's crafted what I would call an amazing life for him and his fiance. So Carl, thank you so much, mate, for joining me on the J2 Hub podcast.
Thanks for having me as well, James.
No problems at all, mate. No worries at all. So look, I think we met about a year ago.
Yeah, it would have been November, I think, Charlie's event.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we saw each other.
Yeah.
I think it was November, wasn't it?
It was November, yeah. It was November. I remember looking over and thinking, man, that guy's got a nice beard. Like, because when you're in the beard game, you look at other beard, like not in a homo way, but you look at other beards and you think that's a nice beard. Like, I like the way it's shaped. I think this guy's got a nice beard. I need to talk to him.
Do you want to? The funny thing is, like, no one in my family has a beard. Every time I go to the barbers here as well, they love the color of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the color for me has been something, not that's been a negative, but it's kind of something that I think about now. Everyone's like, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you're growing up in the UK, if you've got a ginger beard or ginger hair, you'd always be that kid that like, people take the piss, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Let's be fair. Yeah. Like when you're in school and you see a ginger kid, you'd take the piss, but you come out here and see, this is the whole thing about Dubai. Again, it's so different where people, something we see in the UK is let's take the piss. Here in Dubai, people think, that's actually quite cool.
It's
like, I like that. Yeah. And you're thinking, what? My whole life people have been talking about my hair. But anyway, Carl, look, I want to go through quite a few things today. So I want to start in the beginning. Now, I don't normally prepare notes for a podcast, but for this particular one, if you do see me looking at my phone, it's because I've actually prepared some notes. Normally, I go free ball with a conversation because I can talk for England. But this particular one, I really wanted to put down some points. So look, Carl, first of all, you've got an incredible backstory. I don't think a lot of people know about it, but you went from practically losing everything in a fire to rebuilding your life here in Dubai with your girlfriend, soon to be your fiance, Amy. A lot of people would have crumbled under that situation. I know the story because we've spoken about it before, but a lot of people would have crumbled under that situation, but you've really kind of used that as a positive to rebuild yourself. So do you want to tell us about that? Because I've heard it, but I think it's remarkable and I think other people should really hear it too.
So do you want me to go a little bit further back to the start before the fire?
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I think if I'm making this as short as it possibly can be, I'll take you back to what would have been in 2011. So I was in year 6 at the time. Year 6, my mum's moved to a different part of the country. She's moved to Kent. My dad's living in Bournemouth, so we're kind of like a separated family at this point. And I'm in school, very close relationship with my nan at this point. So my nan, it was my great-granddad's funeral at the time. And he basically, my granddad, we went back to their place. And this was like the first moment where I was like, okay, cool. This is probably like the start of me having to grow up, I suppose. And this was when I was like 11 or 12. And my granddad basically beat up my nan at after my great-granddad's funeral. So that's kind of like the start. It's not really the start to the fire, but this gives you a bit of context because me and my nan had a very close relationship, and my nan was the person that I moved in with when the house burned down. Mm-hmm. Now, fast forward another 4 or 5 years. So I moved to my mum's house in Kent. And I was going to college. So I was going to college in Canterbury at the time. Don't know if you know Canterbury, but I was studying to be an engineer. So I'd studied 2 years of engineering at school and then went to do 2 years of engineering at college as well, and then I'd done another year of engineering at university as well, so Brunel University in London.
Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah.
So West London. When I was 17, so a year into college, that's when my brother passed away.
Oh,
and at that point, again, it was like another learning point for me of like, okay, cool, life's just gonna throw shit at you, and it is gonna happen, and you've got two options really. Whether this is the right or wrong way to deal with things, it's like you've got two options. You can either sit and be in the moment, which again is not a wrong thing if that's the way that you deal with things, or you just go, this is, and go and move on.
Yeah.
So it's not that I've necessarily moved on from that situation, but at the time I was in my second year of college, and I was about 2 weeks out from my exams. So I spoke to the college, and they was like, look, if you don't do your exams, you're going to have to resit the year. So my days basically went from, in the mornings I would go to college, in the evenings I would go and see my brother in the funeral directors downstairs. So that was how the setup was for a little while. I finished college, went to university, realized that I hated engineering, and went and worked as an electrician, which is obviously the same thing, but just in a different field, I suppose. Realized I hated that as well.
Yeah.
And then moved over to Australia. So I was like, right, I'm just going to find myself. And actually before Australia, I'd done a bit of traveling around the US as well. So I was like, right, this was my moment of life is short and things are going to happen. So screw it. I'm going to spend all my money.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to America. And I traveled 3 months around the US, met some really amazing people. And I'd always wanted to go and live in Australia. And that's kind of what triggered me to then go and live in Australia. So came back from America, worked my job as an electrician, hated it, went over to Australia, and then got myself into a very shitty relationship, basically. So that's
a crazy girlfriend, yeah?
Could say that, yeah. She was 10 years older than me at the time. And my 18-year-old self was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. I was like,
I'm punching.
The lad of the office. I've come back, and obviously everyone's like, you're with this 30-year-old. Worst decision I've ever made. Basically, I moved in with her after, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks. She texted me and she was like, hey, I'm getting kicked out of my apartment. Should we move in together? And at the time I was like, yeah, let's do it. Because I was like, in my head, I was like, I've got to show this person that I'm older than what I am. So then I moved in with her. And then about a month or two later, it kind of all just crumbled. She was on sugar daddy sites, and basically it was not a good place. And then my visa in Australia, which was somewhere I always wanted to stay, I couldn't get a new visa because I didn't do the farming because I stayed in Australia. Anyway, long story short, I've then moved back to the UK, minus £1,500 in my account at this point, because
as an 18-year-old,
no, I was 20 at the time, because I stayed in Australia. And I was basically, so the rent and everything in Australia was still in my name. So I was still paying stuff when I got back to the UK, gas, electric, which I had to sort out. And I basically was like, I don't want to be here. Not as in on this planet. I don't want to be in the UK. I absolutely hate it here. I was living on my nan's sofa at the time, and she had like this 2-seater sofa, so my feet were hanging over the edge.
You're in the fetal position when you're sleeping, yeah.
I was waking up at 3 in the morning, going in training, going to the office in London, coming back home. I think at the time I was earning like £20,000 a year.
Yeah.
So by the time you pay for trains, which is £300, it's kind of like my money was gone by the end of the month. But my goal during that time was like, I'm going to work my way up the corporate ladder. Me and my nan sat down and we were like, right, well, I'm living by myself, and why don't we just move in together, basically? And I spent 3 months on my nan's sofa, and then we moved into a house around the corner, and it was awesome. I'd basically got my savings to zero at this point, which was good. And then a month later, the house burned down. And
how did the house burn down?
So do you know Watford well?
Yeah, I know Watford. So
we live basically on the back of the St Albans road, and the train line runs from St Albans through to London behind our house. It was during COVID, and there was basically a little bit of a fire that started on the veranda going down to the tracks. That fire then picked up and basically just hit the gardens, and it spread through 9 gardens. As soon as it got to ours, we had the back window and the front window open, so it kind of just went straight through the house.
Oh man!
But at the time, Thames Water had turned down their water pressure, so they had like no pressure to actually get the fire hoses to work. You had all of the cars parked on double yellows, so the fire engine couldn't actually get down the road.
Oh, mate.
So people were lifting up the cars to try and move them. So by the time they actually got there, the house was gone.
Yeah, it's remarkable how fire spreads, right?
Yeah, like it was, I would say within the space of, 5 minutes, it was on the back and just a small fire. Then it was across all the gardens, and within 15 minutes it's in the house, and the house was completely destroyed from start to finish. So it was another point where I was like, okay, cool. we're here again.
What else are you going to throw at me?
So we basically were living in like apartments that the Red Cross sorted out.
Yeah.
We was in Kenton. It was just like and I said to my nan at the time, I was like, I can't live here. Someone had literally just got stabbed outside our apartment the day we moved in.
Wow.
And I was like, I know Kenton quite well because I used to play football there when I was younger, but I was like, I just don't want to be here. I was like, let's just go to my mum's, who lived in Norfolk at this point. So went over to my mum's, and we stayed there for a little bit. Luckily, we had insurance on the house, so we got the payout. Now, my goal at the time was to use that insurance money to go and study carpentry in Australia. So that was like my route back to Australia. So I pretty much
back to the crazy girlfriend.
Not her, no. Back to Australia though. So I saved up all that money, which was, I think it was about £20,000 that we got. So 20,000 for me, 20,000 for Nan to replace all of the house. So luckily, the guys that I worked with, they were really nice, and they set up like a fundraiser. Everyone, basically we got about 7 to 10K to do the house again, which was good. So the insurance money, which we ended up getting about a year later, actually just was like, okay, cool, this is my opportunity. This is like the good that I'm getting back to try and go over to Australia. And then lockdown closed, and went back to the gym, met Amy, and kind of from that point, Australia was like, right, this is not happening. And we kind of just started setting up a life across Watford, Norfolk, Winchester, and then moved here. Basically, that is the shorter version of the long story.
Okay.
So you can see how it kind of correlates back to that beginning of like, I've got a really close relationship with my nan to the point of moving in with her.
Yeah, yeah.
She also lost everything as well. I suppose that's like during that time.
Yeah. So look, one thing I take from this, the one word that keeps coming back is resilience. You know, there was a hell of a lot of resilience here, because just to sum it up, so you're saying at 11, your parents weren't really together, so you're practically on your own, right?
Yeah.
And then as an 11-year-old, that must have been pretty damn tough.
Yeah, it was not a weird dynamic. So my dad, he had 3 children with his then girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And my mum, she had 2 kids with now her ex-husband. So I was kind of the one in the middle of the two, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, because I had a good relationship with my dad and a good relationship with like my mum, her husband, and my brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was kind of like you're just like the lone wolf.
You're floating.
Yeah,
yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Between the two.
Yeah, and then that built up a stronger relationship with your nan.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my nan and my granddad, when I was younger, I had a really close relationship with them. But obviously, when everything went down, when I was 11, my relationship with my granddad just kind of stopped at that point.
Okay. You still have a strong relationship with your nan?
Nan, yeah.
Oh,
I every time I go back to the UK, that's where I stay.
Have you managed to get her out here yet?
She wants to come.
Yeah.
She's quite stubborn though.
Yeah.
So she's it's like a very old person's mentality to Dubai.
Okay.
My mum was the same, to be honest with you. It's Dubai's not safe. Like it's not a bad place to be, but it's got a reputation for what it used to be, right?
Mm.
And I think it's like as soon as you come out here, you realize it's not what it is. And like my mum was like, okay, cool.
It's a lot different to
It's
what
actually,
I thought.
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot more westernized, but in a safe westernized way.
Mm. So look, you got out to Dubai. So I've got this down here. So when you came out to Dubai, did you know what you were going to do? Because obviously now, I'll let you tell the listeners where you're at, what you're doing, what space you're in. But did you know what you were going to do when you came out here?
My goal, literally being here, is to set myself up for the future.
Okay,
that's really my goal.
No, but what I mean is when you came to Dubai, did you have a plan?
As in, like, did I have a plan
on what you're going to do? Like you and Amy flew out together, right?
Yeah.
And did you guys have like a plan?
I wouldn't say it was a plan. It was like, okay, cool, we're going to Dubai. Let's stay in an Airbnb for a couple of months, see what happens, and then go from there. Like, that's literally as deep as our plan
Wow.
went. We had the business, of course, that we was running. So the business was always going to be the same and work was always going to be the same. But when it comes down to Dubai, there was actually never really a plan. It was just almost like we had a conversation of, when we was in the UK, we can either stay here and not necessarily be happy, or we can go and give this a try. And if it doesn't work out, we just come back home.
Can always come back. Yeah. And how did you, okay, so you're in the fitness space, but how did you set that business up?
Yeah. So,
or how did that start?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I used to follow a lot of fitness influencers, and I was like, I would love to do what they do. But I always had this self-doubt on like, why could I do it? And I was working so the corporate job that I was working where I was earning 20,000.
Yeah.
At this point, when I started my coaching business, I was earning about 10,000 per month. And I knew it was going to get to the point where it was 15 or 20 over the next 2 to 3 months, because I just signed some really big deals. And I knew the business.
And were you, at this stage, you're in the UK, right?
In the UK.
Were you online coaching or were you coaching in the gym?
I was just doing corporate work, and I started doing personal training in the gym alongside this.
Damn, so you're earning 10 grand doing in-person stuff?
No, 10 grand is corporate.
Okay.
In person, 50 quid.
Okay.
That was just like my route to, okay, cool, I'm starting to do personal training.
Okay, got you.
I actually got my qualifications just after the house burnt down, but I never done anything with them. They kind of just sat there. And so, yeah, I was earning about 10 a month, and it would have been about 15 to 20. And my mum and my fiance, Amy, they both sat me down and were like, in their words, you're being a cunt. Like, excuse me. That's what they said. And they were like, if you don't change your job, we will just... My mum was like... My mum wouldn't leave me, but Amy was like, if you don't change the way that you are, then I'm gone. Like, I can't live like this. So I was like, okay, cool, fuck it, let's just do this. Let's start the business. And because it's always what I wanted to do. I just had a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah.
And I suppose... going back to a conversation that we had earlier on around being blunt probably works a little bit better for me, because it gave me the kick to do something that I thought I couldn't do.
Yeah, so Amy saw the potential in you to go and do it, and your mum saw the potential in you to go and do it, but you still didn't see it at that time.
No, I was seeing safety in my job. I was like, okay, cool, that's amazing what you're saying. However, I'm going to earn 15 to 20 grand in the next couple of months. Like, this is good money. This is money that I've never seen before. Yeah,
sure.
But yeah, I left that job, basically just handed in my notice that week, and they wanted me to stay. I stayed part-time and started my coaching business alongside it.
Wow.
My goal wasn't to stay part-time with them. They offered me part-time to stay.
So you came to a compromise?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, Carl, I've been around the fitness industry. I mean, not in it myself, training people, but I've been around it with a lot of you guys, a lot of you coaches. I've got a lot of fitness clients. Now, I've seen that the business can be quite volatile. As someone standing on the top who sees things, I work with various fitness guys that have bought real estate from me, so I get to see how much they earn, what they do, and it's kind of like you're either really good or you're really shit. There doesn't seem to be like there is a little mediocre bit in between, but I find that the industry is quite volatile. I mean, how is someone like you continuing to build success here? Because you are, like, I've seen you from November till now. Your brand's got better. Everything you do's got better. Your content's great. How are you standing out, would you say, from everybody else?
Do you know what it is? People aren't willing to do the things that create growth or success. I think that's the biggest thing that it comes down to, is aside from markets and understanding the people that you work with and getting great results. If you think about a lot of people and coaches and fitness people, they aren't willing to post every single day. They aren't willing to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to bed at 9. They say they want to have a business, but they aren't willing to do the things that create a business. And it's the same things that happened when I was in recruitment. The reason I got to the point where I'd done those deals is because I would start work at 6 a.m. every single day, and I would finish at 8 p.m. every single day. I'm not saying you have to work those hours, but if you want to stand out in a market, you have to put the work in. And the way that I think about things is like, the work that we put in now isn't going to be forever.
True.
Like, yes, you work a lot of hours now, but am I going to be working 12 hours a day for the next 2 years? Maybe, I don't know. But potentially not. Potentially I'll have a team, which I mean, we do have a team now.
Which you're growing, right? Yeah.
And there'll be people that can take some of the work that I'm doing at the moment. I mean, we spoke already about having Sundays off. Sundays is not something I've taken off. I take Saturdays afternoons off as well now.
Oh, well, look, when we first met, the word team would never have been in your kind of remit, because I remember you were kind of like, no, I'm doing it all myself.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's like showing up and doing the work that you don't want to do. Like today's a typical day. Today's Prophet Muhammad's birthday. The roads are quiet. Everybody's sleeping. And I've seen posts this morning of real estate agents like, oh, I'm having a day off. And I'm thinking, last week you're moaning that you've closed no business the whole of summer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking in my own office and looking at certain people and thinking, you've not really done so great this summer, but you're having a day off. Like, how can you warrant a day off when you're not where you want to be? Maybe I've just got some twisted way of thinking.
I don't think it's a twisted way of thinking. I think it's successful people think differently. And I'm not where I want to be right now. And I suppose to people, not in a negative way, but people below you or people who are not necessarily where you are, they don't want to do the work to get there, even though they want to be there. But they don't really want to be there, because if you did, you would put in the work. It's the same thing. You know, if we change the script and go fitness, how many times have you heard someone in your family or friends say they want to lose weight and then they don't? Or how many times have you seen them get fat again? Happens multiple times because people want the thing, they don't want the work that gets to the thing. Yeah,
and I think you're right with the whole fitness space. You can't pay to get into you can pay to get into good shape by someone training you, but this is raw hard work. So what you guys do, and I've said it before when I've spoken at Charlie's event, that when I look around the room and see 60 people looking phenomenal, I think you can't fucking buy that.
No.
Like, you can't buy the way you guys look, because you guys look phenomenal, and that is just hard work. Would you say a lot of that comes into how you run your business as well, the discipline you've got with working out?
100%. I think it ties into absolutely everything. Business, fitness, relationship. If you want them to work, you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And it does require discipline. It does require you doing things that you don't want to do. And that's okay. And I think people shy away from doing things that they don't want.
Yeah. I think we were talking about like social media being one of them, like social media posting. I think at the moment it's evident that algorithms have changed. A lot of things have changed on the social media space. And people say to me, oh, James, you're still posting, but some posts are not getting many views. But I'm thinking, you don't understand that I'm testing. Yeah. You know, I'm going through a phase where most people would have just given up. And it's like typical here, we're sitting here Friday. What we're doing, we're shooting content because we want it to relate to audiences. There's a purpose behind this. As nice as it is us having a chat, because we could chat all day long. But what I'm saying is we see a bigger purpose. Both you see it and I see it. And 100%. A lot of people are like, but, I created this one video and I didn't get nothing. And I'm thinking, I've created fucking thousands of videos and I still don't get anything. And I'm still doing it.
Yeah. So the last 2 weeks, not this week, but the 2 weeks before that, I was posting three times a day to test. Test post and just see what works.
Yeah.
None of them really worked, but that's okay. And it just like people aren't willing to do those things.
Yeah.
And it comes to like business, fitness, relationships. People aren't willing to do the things that require like a successful marriage. How much work does that take?
Yeah.
How much, if you want to have a successful marriage, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Yeah. 18 years married, and I can tell you, it's not a walk in the park.
Yeah. Even you had to compromise with your bike in the room. So
exactly. I can't buy a new bike because my wife doesn't want it in the room. Like, it's like, for fuck's sake, it's a bike. But I understand from her point of view. But you're right. I think a lot of the people that don't want to do the hard work. That's a good way of looking at it. Carl, I want to move on to you're probably the most risk adverse person I've ever met, and I think your fiance would agree as well.
Yeah.
And I know me and Amy were laughing about it a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was that we were sitting down, and I get that. You know, where do you think this whole kind of risk adverse mindset comes in from? I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but when you're sitting down and how we sat down and we're looking at, you know, you got 200 grand there or whatever it might have been when we were trying to work out some finances on some deals when we went through it all. And, you know, most people would jump in when they've got a fraction of that. What makes you so risk adverse with investments?
It's not just investments. I'll be very honest with you. It's I don't really know where this. I suppose it's positive and negative, right? There's different ways of looking at it. I don't know where the fear of money has come from. And it's been something I've been trying to work out for a very long time, because going back to when I was in Australia and going back to when I was in America, I spent all my money and I was okay. And
you didn't care.
That was fine. Yeah. My pay slip would come in. I was like, right, let's go out. Let's have a few drinks. Let's use this money. Whereas like now I'm like, okay, yeah, I've got this amount in savings. Yes, I've got this investment. Yes, I know statistically from how much the business has been making that we're probably going to do that again. However, my fear and I can't remember the word that you just used there, but
risk adverse.
Risk averse nature with money. I suppose it has its benefits and its negatives, because the negatives are it's something that's on your mind every single day, but the positives is when deals like you've presented to me come up, you're in the opportunity to do them. I'm in a position where if me and Amy want to go out on the weekend, we've got the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So it has its pros and its cons. I think, you know, looking around my friendship circles and the people that I know, a lot of them earn a lot more than me.
I've seen it.
And I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. And this was the same in recruitment as well. Like these guys were earning a lot of money and had nothing. And I think, do you know what? It probably comes back from what we spoke about earlier on, losing everything and then getting it all. I think the big fear comes down to, I don't want to lose everything again.
Yeah.
So you become more risk adverse.
Sure. You know, I think we spoke about this last time when we sat down, when we had breakfast a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, we talked about it. Like my wife and my kids say to me, James, you're a tight ass. You know, like I keep getting called this tight ass. And, you know, I look around the circle that I'm in one of the most lucrative circles there is. And I see people, you know, wearing watches that are 3 million quid, 50,000 pounds or whatever it might be. And I kind of, in my head, I'm kind of like, okay, how does this work? Like for me, when I'm building a house, because I have built houses, I'm concentrating on the foundations first. Yeah. I see some people and they're looking at the fine furnishings before they've even laid solid foundations for their future. And I'm like, and sometimes I'm known to be this fucking moody old uncle. Like I'm trying to tell the young guys that are in their late 20s, I'm like, guys, why the fuck do you need a G-Wagon before you've built any other foundations? Like you should be building assets that pay for that G-Wagon. You should be having a tenant in a house that gives you 10, 12,000 dirhams a month and it pays your finance payment on your car. Yeah. Why are you having to find that payment? Why? Because you want to look flash? You know, you've got the mindset on the way people think nowadays. It's very much like, I just want to live for now. No one seems to have this kind of like, I want to create something for the future, like not just for me, but for generations to come. Or I want to, like you said, when me and Amy want to go out, we can go out. You know, when you guys want to go traveling, you can go traveling, you can disappear. And I think for me, the ultimate flex in all of this is having freedom. And freedom is like, do what you want to do when you want to do, and nobody's telling you what to do.
100%.
But it seems like people have really got that mixed up nowadays.
I think a lot of people, two things. I think a lot of people chase the high of what they think those things are going to give them.
Yeah.
And I think in Dubai, there's obviously, you can get caught by the flashing lights, right? It's a lifestyle that if you really wanted to, you could probably spend 20, 30,000 pounds a week by going to the beach clubs, by whining and dining girls, by buying the flashy cars, renting a Lamborghini Urus.
Doing stupid shit.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get caught by that side. And then you've got the other side, which kind of ties back into the mentality I had when I went to America, which was like, right, you are only here once and this could all go tomorrow. So I may as well enjoy it. But the way that I think is like, yes, that may happen, but what if it doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah. You know how I overcome that? I say to people, you wouldn't knowingly go and stand on the road while a bus is coming, would you? And they say no, because I'd get run over. I go, so why do you think it's okay just to piss all your money up the wall? Because you think you only live once, but you're going to live for a long time. And now people live for even longer.
Yeah.
And with fucking biohacking and wellness coming in, chances are you'll probably live way past 110, 120. That's a lot of fucking years if you're 20 years old right now.
I think I would love a flashy car and a flashy apartment and all of these nice things. But then I also think, I'm like, I don't actually need them because I'm happy with what I've got right now. I would happily just sit at home on a Saturday, watch the football, go and have breakfast, get a coffee, come back home.
Yeah.
Like, as long as I've got a nice apartment, a nice life, I've got Amy, like, everything's chill. So, I mean, you have to rein yourself in from thinking those things. And the way that I want to set myself up is when I'm 40, I don't want to work. Or, I mean, I might want to work, but it would be choosing to work.
You're choosing to do what you want
as opposed to like needing to work. Absolutely. And I want to be in a position where I could probably get those things.
Yeah.
So, you know, property is just one thing that we're doing. We've got the S&P 500 as well, which is a different investment portfolio. So it's like, how can we put ourselves in a situation where we're stacking the odds in our favor?
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than living for the now.
Absolutely.
Even though we kind of are. I suppose.
I get it. I think you've got a fine balance. Like you and Amy have got a really, really good balance on how you do things. Like, you know, everything is very well thought out. If you're having a night out, it's thought out. If you're going here, it's thought out, you know. And one thing I love about you track everything, you know, and they say it in business. If you want to grow, you got to track, right? When you want to lose weight, you got to track. When you want to grow in business, you're tracking. Yep. So a lot of people think they don't need to track their own finance, and it's good that you do that. So if you've gone out, you spent 200 dirhams on something, let's track it. Let's track it.
I bought a Diet Coke for Amy the other day, and I bought myself a 7-Up free. That went. I literally got home straight in the tracker.
Wow. So look, for anybody listening, this is the lengths that this guy goes through to track his finances, and you know what? It ties in hand. It shows that tracking his 7-Up has made him successful. Carl, I want to move on to the next thing quickly because I'm cautious of time, but someone who's so risk adverse, how the fuck did you end up buying 2 properties in less than a year? I thought it was just over a year, but you've kind of corrected me this morning that it was actually under a year. And we're not talking peanuts here. We're talking decent levels of investment.
Mm-hmm. So when I first met you, we sat down at the event and I spoke to you about how much we had in savings. That was based on kind of like my recruitment days, the fire, the business, like all of this. Everything was going into a savings account. And it got to the point where I was like, these savings are doing nothing for me and I need to put money into an investment. So I suppose like from my perspective, and we didn't take the jump straight away. I was like, let's have a conversation, let's sit down, let's go and look at the numbers, let's work it out. But I trusted your judgment on being like, okay, cool, James has done it for a lot of other people. I've seen the results that they have. This is a safer bet than having my money here.
Yeah.
So I think like it's still risk adverse. It's just risk adverse in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's risk adverse in the way of this is 95% going to work. And even if it doesn't, the likelihood of me losing money is minimal. So I just thought of it in my head to make it easier as like an extra savings pot. I was like, I'm literally just putting the savings that I've got here into another savings pot to potentially have it
they're not disappeared. And
grow. So that's kind of, I suppose, I'm still as risk adverse as I was before.
Yeah.
It's just changing the thinking behind it. And I suppose with the new property that we've just bought as well, it was the same. I mean, we sat in that room for 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Going through the numbers, and you were like, this is safe. Sarah was like, this is safe. Amy was like, do it. And I was like, nah, it's not safe. It's not. Like, but it is, right?
And for anyone listening, Carl was very transparent. He listed out every bank account he had. He listed out how much money he had. He listed out how much money was potentially coming as well. So he was very, very open with this. And when anybody, just for listeners, when you looked at it on paper, it was like, he can actually afford this and still be okay. But in his mind, he was still that risk adverse.
Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want to take money from my savings.
Yeah.
And that was like the big thing for me. I think it's just, I'm thinking in my head, and again, this goes back to what we were speaking about earlier on. In order to get to where you want to get to, you have to do things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that I don't want to do, but I have to do in order to get to the place that I want to get to, which is if I want to retire by the time I'm 40, or I want to be in a position where I don't have to work, then I'm going to have to do the things that someone at my age would do to be in that position.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that negates the risk aversion.
So look, most people for their 27th birthday would probably go out, party, buy a car, do something. You know, Carl ended up buying a nice 2-bedroom apartment, right? So, you know, again, it was a very thought out purchase. And you know what I love about the whole process was that I felt at no point in those 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever it was that I had to force you to buy anything.
No.
I mean, you as a client, would you say you got any push from me? Like to say, oh, you got to sign, you got to sign, you got to sign, you got to sign.
No push. I think it's push in a good way.
Yeah.
So we were speaking about this property for how long? 4 or 5 months,
Yeah.
maybe. It was a good chunk of time. And the amount of times I messaged you to be like, yeah, I think I may be ready. Actually,
I'm not quite ready.
Yeah, maybe. I was like this, I'm in an RN. And I think it required not a negative push of like, you need a sign, but it was just, let me just take you down there. You'll see what it's like. We'll have a chat. We'll look through the numbers. We'll go through absolutely everything to make sure that this works for you. And if it doesn't, awesome. Like, that's not the end of the world. And if it does, perfect. Let's do it. So I think like the thing I love about working with you as well is we just have a very open conversation. And if you need to push me, not to force me to do it, but just like, you're going to miss out on this opportunity. And I think a week later, the prices went up, right?
They did, because they had the new release just a week after. Yeah.
So it kind of, I think it's positive. I don't mind it.
Yeah. Okay. How does it feel, Carl? You're 27 years old. You know, you live in the best place in the world where a lot of people want to move to. You know, you own property, close to £800,000, I would say, something like that. You know, and only a few years ago, you're sitting there thinking, fuck, my house is burnt down. You know, what I want to try and put into context is that you said it yourself, life's going to throw some real fucking shit at you. And I could see when you were speaking about your brother and the fire, I could see you were getting emotional about it, you know, and you dealt with that. But now you've come out the other end. How does it feel?
I think, do you want the honest answer?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm at the end. So I'm in like this big stress bubble, basically, of like, I need to work, I need to do this. I think Amy says this all the time. She's like, you're so much further ahead than where you think you are, or where maybe, you know, quotation mark, you should be. But at the same time, I don't feel like I'm where I need to be.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I always expect better from me. That's the thing. But also just reflecting on things, I suppose, if I'm being honest as well, it's like, okay, cool, we're doing much better than I ever thought I would when that house burned down.
Yeah.
So am I further ahead? Yeah. Am I where I want to be? No. So I think it's like this weird sort of, maybe you find this as well. I don't know.
The thing is, if you had said to me, you feel massively comfortable, then I would have alarm bells ringing. Because for me, I think the minute you get comfortable, that's when you stop trying.
Yeah.
And I always like to put myself in a situation where I'm uncomfortable. Because when you're uncomfortable, that's when you grow. Absolutely. You know, and when you get comfortable, that's when the whole growth goes. And I've seen it time and time again in Dubai here. People are like, oh, well, I've banked X amount of money. I've done this. I'm comfortable. Don't need to do anything. And then suddenly disaster hits or something happens. They need money. And it's kind of like, oh shit, I should have just kept the momentum going. That's the word, momentum. You've got great momentum now. It's like when I go cycling with the pros on a Saturday. These guys have got serious momentum. Okay, they've got way better bikes than me. And this is a whole new podcast. But they always talk about it. They say, James, once we've built the momentum up to 38, 40 kilometers per hour, we want to keep that momentum going. And it's right, because the minute you start slowing down, it's okay to slow down to 37, 36. But if you drop it back to 30, it's going to take you a long fucking time to get back to where you were. Yeah. And I feel that's what I do in business, and I get the kind of same vibe from you. Like, you're on the train, the wheels are turning. Why the fuck do I want to start applying the brakes now when I don't need to?
Exactly. And again, if you want to be in a position where you're retiring by 40, well, what are the things that person would do? They wouldn't slow down. They would keep on going.
All guns blazing. Yeah,
they would keep on pushing. So I think like you have to put yourself in that situation where you're setting yourself up for the future as opposed to just complacency and allowing it to slip as well. Because especially in Dubai, you'll see people do an amazing month. Maybe this happens in real estate. I don't know too much about real estate, but they'll have a great month and then they go, okay, cool, fuck it. I'm not doing anything for the whole of the month. And then they're like, oh shit, I need to do something now. It's September. I've got no
and they've
deals.
lost the momentum, right?
Whereas if they just kept on going, they might not necessarily have had a good month that month, but I'll tell you one thing, they would have a good month the next month and maybe the month after that.
Yeah. So Carl, look, I've always said it whenever I've done a talk at Charlie's event or any fitness event. I always say that, look, I'm in my 40s and I can see things that probably somebody in their 20s, 30s can't. And I always say with the fitness industry, it's definitely got a fucking shelf life, 100%. I feel, because you just got to look at some of the greats. When they get to late 40s, 50s, they start looking like a bag of shit. And somebody behind them is coming up in their 20s that looks great. So I always say like the fitness industry, especially online personal training, has a shelf life. I mean, what would your advice be to the guys out there that are young right now that are making some serious paper? Because people are making serious paper in this game. Yeah. $100,000, $200,000 a month, not a year.
Yeah, people we know people that are making $900,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So look, someone like yourself, who you've said it quite clearly, you're not even at the level some of these people are, but you've probably made sounder investments than these people have. You're probably financially grounded in a way that some of these people are not. I mean, what would your advice be to somebody in the field right now who's sitting there in the fitness industry thinking, you know what, I'm making 70 grand, 80 grand, 100 grand a month, but I don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, from your point of view, what would you say to these guys, what they should be doing?
I would honestly just ask yourself, where do you want to be in 20 years? Because personally, I mean, I don't know, but the way I think about things is, do I want to live the same life that I'm living now in 20 years? Maybe I don't. Maybe I want to just relax a little bit and have a biscuit on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to have a glass of wine with Amy. Who knows, right? But I think you have to put yourself in a position where you're thinking about where you want to be. Now, for some people, that might be spending all your money on a weekend, but for 90% of people, it's going to be sitting down and going, I don't want to be in a position where I'm chasing my tail every single month for the next 20, 30 years. And if that's the person that you want to be, you have to look at investments. You have to look at ways that you can make your money work for you. And if we think about property, it's the one place that is still not only going to make you money as you sell the property, it's going to make you money when the property is done, because somebody's going to be in there. And if you can get yourself 10 properties, I don't know the numbers. I have not actually worked this one out yet, but if you've got 10 properties that you're renting, I'm almost certain that's going to be enough to sustain your life that you're living right now.
Absolutely.
In 10 years.
Yeah, let's say you got 10 properties that give you £2,000 a month. That's £20,000 a month.
Cool.
I don't think most people need more than £20,000 a month to live. That is a comfortable number for you to be doing exactly whatever you want to be doing in life.
Yeah. And let's not forget that in Dubai, that's £20,000 tax-free money.
Exactly.
Into your pocket.
Very, very good point there. Anybody who is earning that £20,000 in the UK for a property portfolio, you're not actually having that 20,000. Yeah. There's a lot of other expenses to consider. It moves me nicely on to the next question. Carl, would you ever go back to the UK?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is the honest answer.
I guess you've got a real good tie with your nan there, right? And your mum.
So it's not even the family aspect for me. For me, what we really miss is just being able to go out for a walk and grab a coffee and not die in the heat.
Okay.
That's like...
I'd have to agree with you
and like
there.
Smelling the grass and the trees and like the fresh... that's the things that we miss.
Cow dung.
Yeah, or that, yeah. Or the smell of weed as you walk past the council estates, that one. But I think we definitely won't be moving back anytime soon. Like the UK for us is a bit broken. And the only reason we would ever move back is if we're in a position where we don't have to work when we're there.
Ah, okay.
Because I think it's a pointless place to be when you're working so many hours. And I think me and Amy have spoken about this as well. If we did go back, we'd go to somewhere like the Cotswolds or Bath or somewhere which is like away from London.
Just a slow pace of life.
Slow pace of life, which is a lot slower than Dubai as well, because Dubai is quite fast paced and you've got to keep up. But Dubai just offers so much good that it's pointless for us to go back right now. But the honest answer is I just don't know.
You don't know. 50-50 or...
Do I see myself being here forever? Probably not. Do I see myself back in the UK? Maybe. Do I see myself in America? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said the older I get, I'm going further east.
So you would go... What would east be? That would be like Australia, Hawaii.
Yeah, I'll probably start heading towards like, I've been exploring all the eastern. I've been to Sri Lanka, I've been to Bali. Yeah. I think I'm at a point in my life now where in the next 7-8 years, I'm going to find the next stage. Because I agree with you. Dubai is a great place to run a business, earn money, enjoy everything. It's a great place to be. But I think moving into a latter part of my life, when I get into my 50s, 55 plus, I probably want to be near the sea and a bit of kind of thing. Yeah. But I will always have a home here. And that's what I love. That's what property's given me. It's given me a home in the UK, multiple homes in the UK. I've got a home here. And I want to have now a home somewhere in the Far East where I can go so I can skip between three. Yeah. And then who knows, maybe another little residency somewhere in Europe, Portugal, one of those other countries, Spain, something like that, just so I can be completely fluid and move. Because if we have another COVID, which might happen, you
don't want to be stuck in the UK.
I do not want to be stuck in the UK. I want to be able to move quickly and be wherever the hell I want to be. And that comes back down to freedom.
Yeah. I think it's funny you say that. I mean, me and Amy have spoken about like what is the next move for us property-wise if we do invest into something else. And I think it would be interesting to purchase abroad. Like not necessarily but I said it would be cool to have a place in the Gold Coast. In Australia, because then again you've got the flexibility to be like, okay, cool, we can go back to the UK and stay with my nan for a little bit. We can come to Dubai and stay at our property when that one's done. We can go to Australia and we can stay out there as well. And Australia offers what we would want, which is beaches, nice weather, fresh air, like the opportunity to walk down the beach and smell the trees. Not that I'm sniffing trees, but
tree sniffer.
yeah. But you know what I'm saying. Like in Dubai, it's very much like we walk down the road and it's sand, humidity, heat.
Of course it is. Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I miss.
That's it. I agree with you. There's nothing else I miss other than the seasons, so to say. So Carl, look, to finish off, I want to ask you one question. Would you say now investing in real estate has given you some form of peace of mind?
100%. I think to anyone, we sent Nathan your way as well. And it's anyone that's thinking about it, do it. Because even the property that we purchased in Town Square, you can give the numbers on this, but we spoke about it. Your conservative expectations on what it'll be is what, £100,000 increase?
Yeah.
On where it is at the moment. So if you like money, if you like setting yourself up for the future, then make the investment.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Thank you so much. Look, really, really good speaking to you, mate. We could go on for hours. For anybody listening who's thinking, you want to find out more about this Carl guy, obviously your content is great. Yeah. You'll see him in some questionable positions doing some stuff down the gym. But where's the best place for people to connect with you if they want to connect with you?
Well, if you want to see me in my Speedos a lot, it's Kyle _progressive coaching. And that's where I post all my content. Yeah,
and you know what? Just lastly, we've made a mention of her a lot so far, Amy. I think Amy's a phenomenal person. I like her a lot, and I think you guys together are like a power couple. I mean, she's like I say to her, she's like a little pocket rocket. She sits quiet, but when she needs to step in and say something, Amy's just like bang, 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 bang. And what I really love about her is she don't hold back. Like if she needs to say something, it is just black or white. There's no conservative grey area with her. Yeah.
I think none of this would be possible without her. So I pushed the business. I pushed the choice to come out here. Business wouldn't be here if she didn't sit me down. Yeah. The property wouldn't have been bought the other day if she didn't speak to me. None of this would be, like, even the back end business. She does a lot of the stuff that I don't do. Yeah. The admin side. So it's all
Big up to Amy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Well, Carl, thank you so much for joining me, mate, on the J2 Hub podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. And no doubt we'll carry on talking.
100%.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much, mate.
James.
Thank you. Bye-bye.